let's talk about something that affects every single one of us: time. And more importantly, let's talk about why almost everything we've been told about managing it is just wrong. Seriously. Okay, let's get into it. You know that feeling, right? Your calendar's jammed, you're jumping from one thing to the next, putting out fires. But at the end of the day, you kind of lean back and think, what did I actually accomplish? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you're in the right place. See, we've been obsessed with managing hours and minutes, with to-do lists and calendar blocks. But the real secret, the thing that actually moves the needle on your biggest goals, has nothing to do with the clock. It's about mastering three completely different things: when you do something, the energy you bring to it, and the direction you're pointed in. So here's how we're going to break this down. We'll kick things off with a wild, true story from history. Then we'll dive into a simple parable about two prisoners. We're going to see why your direction is way more important than your effort, look at the cautionary tale of a genius who wasted his life's work, and then we'll bring it all home with a practical guide to finding your own personal zone of genius. First up, the race against time. This story is just a perfect example of how the moment you choose to act can sometimes be infinitely more important than the action itself. Let's head back to 1876. Okay, picture this. It's February 14th. Two different inventors have completely independently invented the telephone, a world-changing device. And on the exact same day, they both send their lawyers to the patent office. Now, lawyer number one, he's in what you'd call war mode. He gets there before the doors even open, ready to pounce. But lawyer number two, totally different vibe. He's relaxed. He figures, hey, the invention is brilliant, what's the rush, and decides to file after a nice long lunch. And this right here, this is the whole story. It's the contrast in mindset. One side believed speed was absolutely critical. This was priority number one. The other side, they believed the quality of their work was so good that a few hours here or there just didn't matter. And that one single difference in belief about timing, well, it changed everything. After a massive legal battle that went all the way to the Supreme Court, it all came down to this one tiny detail. The judge demanded to see the patent office's daily logbook, and when they opened it up to the entries for that day, the first lawyer's application was entry number 5. The second lawyer's, it was entry number 39. So who were these inventors? Well, inventor A, the guy with the lawyer in war mode, was a fella named Alexander Graham Bell. He went on to found AT&T, became a billionaire. Inventor B was Elisha Gray. Now, here's the crazy part. Many historians will tell you his design was actually better. But it didn't matter. He lost. And this is our first huge lesson. Getting the timing right isn't just important, it can be everything. All right, now let's move on. This simple little parable is going to introduce our other two key variables: energy and direction. Imagine two prisoners. Let's call them Rahul and Sumit. They're put in identical rooms, and they're told, behind one of these 4 walls is a fortune in gold. The other 3 walls? Solid mountain rock. They each get an axe and enough food for a year. So, who gets the gold? Well, their approaches are night and day. Rahul wakes up, has a huge breakfast, kind of chills for a bit, and then, feeling a little guilty in the afternoon, he grabs the axe with his energy already fading and just starts swinging at whatever wall is closest. Sumit, on the other hand, is playing a totally different game. He ignores the food completely. He uses his peak morning focus to carefully inspect every single wall, tapping them, listening, searching until he finds the one that sounds hollow. He identifies his target, and then he attacks it with everything he's got. Rahul's problem wasn't a lack of effort. He was definitely working hard. But he made 2 massive, critical mistakes. First, his direction was wrong. He was hitting solid rock. And second, he was working in the wrong energy state, waiting until all his best focus for the day was already gone. And this brings us to a really, really important idea. Of our 3 variables, timing, energy, and direction, one of them is king. One of them is way more important than the others. Let's talk about why choosing the right thing to work on is the ultimate game changer. So what do we even mean by direction? Look, it's not about being busy. It's the disciplined, focused act of identifying the single most important task. The one thing that will create a domino effect for everything else you want to achieve. It's about finding the right wall to hit before you even pick up the axe. Think about it like this. Even if Sumit was weaker or less efficient and only put in half the effort of Rahul, he still would have gotten the gold eventually. Why? Because every single ounce of his energy was pointed in the right direction. Misguided effort isn't just inefficient, it's pure waste. And this is not just a parable, right? This happens in the real world all the time. Just think about Kodak. They literally invented the digital camera, but were so focused on selling film that they completely missed the boat. Or Blockbuster, who could have bought Netflix for peanuts, but was too busy worrying about late fees. Both companies had tons of resources and smart, hardworking people. But a fatal error in direction made all of that completely worthless. To really hammer this point home, let me tell you about a certified genius, a guy who was spectacularly right and then spent decades being spectacularly, tragically wrong. Back in the 1840s, an astronomer named Urbain Le Verrier saw that Uranus's orbit was a little wobbly. So, with just a pen and paper, he calculated that another planet must be pulling on it and predicted exactly where it would be. Astronomers pointed their telescopes and boom, there was Neptune, an unbelievable triumph. But then, he tried to do the same thing with Mercury's orbit, predicting a ghost planet he called Vulcan. The problem? It wasn't there. And he spent the rest of his life chasing this planet that didn't exist. A total genius, wasting all of his incredible effort on the wrong wall. Okay, so we get the principles right: right timing, peak energy, and correct direction. Fantastic. But how do you actually apply this to your own life? Like tomorrow morning? Well, it all starts with understanding your own biology. Your body has a natural clock. For most of us, the hormone that boosts focus and attention, cortisol, is at its highest in the morning, and then it just drops off throughout the day. This isn't just a nice theory, it's a biological fact. You have a built-in window of peak mental horsepower every single day. The trick is to treat it like gold. So here it is, a simple but incredibly powerful 4-step plan. Step 1, dump everything you have to do onto a list. Step 2, and this is the most important part, prioritize that list not by what feels urgent, but by what will have the biggest long-term impact. Find your gold wall. Step 3, you take that single number 1 priority and you do it first inside your peak energy window. No email, no social media, no distractions. And step 4, you stay on that one task until you are genuinely tired. This is the modern trap, isn't it? We wake up with a full tank of our best brain fuel, and what do? We immediately start burning it on low-value stuff, like scrolling Instagram or clearing out our inbox. We are essentially giving our A-plus brain power to C-minus tasks, and then trying to tackle our life's most important work with the fumes left over at 3 p.m. It's totally backward. So I want to leave you with this question. Just forget about the daily grind for a second. What is the one project, the one skill, the one wall that if you could just break through it, would completely change the game for you over the next 2 years? What is your goal? Once you have that answer, you know exactly what to do. Find your direction, guard your peak energy with your life, and do that thing first.